Okay, this is the latest toy from the business end. This is the mallet that I sent you the still pictures about. This is the urethane material that's around. It's kind of a rubber-based material. This is an indexing wheel. This is a drill chuck and a shaft that I bore out. And at the back end of it is a one-way bearing and a ratchet assembly that goes over via cable to a cam. And the cam actuates that indexing device, which sends this wheel turning in an indexing manner, a certain number of degrees. Each time it makes a revolution, this will move an indexed increment. So as the string begins to wind around it, you'll see how it works. The yarn is tied on the back end of it here and comes through this little feeder right here. It travels through a copper wire that's here on an aluminum machine piece. I fabricated this to go over and through a shaft that I drilled. That shaft is now hollow, which it isn't normally, and through it comes the yarn that winds around the hammer or the mallet, as they refer to them as. This device, this indexing wheel, is pivoting on this screw right down here in order to adjust the angle in which the yarn is wrapped around it. Right now it's fixed in position. The yarn is tensioned at the back with a device that looks very much like something you'd find on an average sewing machine, just a thread tensioner. And then under normal conditions, this yarn will be on a spool that feeds from behind. Right now I've just got it in a little bundle and I'll have to hold it because it's got to have a slight degree of tension on it. It's powered by a transistor controlled motor with a variable speed device, which is what you see here. I'm going to step around to this side to explain the indexing wheel. The yellow strap in the center of the frame is actually a drag brake to keep that indexing wheel from drifting too far. When I activate the lever, there's a camshaft at this end and an electric switch that's going to operate a counter. It's not hooked up yet. This cam revolves around in a circle, and each time it comes down, this ball bearing pushes on this lever, which pulls on this cable, which pulls on this cable to come over to this piece, and it trips this indexing wheel. I'll show you again while it's running. You'll be able to see what it does. So I'm going to go ahead and back off a minute. I have to keep tension on this yarn, so the picture might get a little jiggly. We'll see. I'll start it up at this end and you'll be able to see the motor begin to turn it. I'm going to turn on real slow at first so you can see exactly what's happening. It wraps and then you'll see it turn and index. And it wraps and you'll see it turn and index. And it just repeats that. What's going on back here is every time that wheel goes around, it pushes down on that lever. That lever then pulls that one-way bearing, which makes that shaft turn and indexes or turns at a particular increment each time it comes around. It turns the same increment. Okay, I'm going to turn the speed up a little bit, put a little tension on the string here to keep it going. I can do it with that hand maybe. We'll see. I'm going to bring the speed up so you can show you what production speed is like. It continues to wrap until you have somewhere, I think it's right around 70 or 80 windings. And it begins to look like what you see in an industrial sail. I'm going to shut down now because I think that's probably pretty close. The point is you can see what it does. It was taking him somewhere around 10 minutes to wrap one by hand, and as you can see I just wrapped one in less than a minute. You can see how the design makes a perfect little dent on the inside. Then what he'll do at this point is to cut the yarn and then take some other string material and take a few stitches in the bitter end of it so that it doesn't unwind or unravel. I thought in the beginning they were going to be covered in leather or something like that, but this is the final product. And if you look on the internet, these things go from 30 to 60 bucks a pop. and they sell them to marimba and people who play xylophones or percussion type instruments like xylophones and marimbas. That's one of the 5. Just one. I'll give you a real quick look at it.